Okay, there's something huge up on the road. I don't know what that is. Oh. I'm on the road out of state, into Ohio, just 20 or so miles east of Toledo. I've never been to the Ottawa National Wildlife Refuge, but I hear it's one of the best places in North America to view migrating birds. It seems like an excellent place to talk about scouting new locations. Okay, so I'm in the Ottawa National Wildlife Refuge, and the first thing I did when I got here was start taking a tour of the wildlife drive. Really encourage you to take advantage of drives like this. Birds don't tend to recognize people in cars, so you can oftentimes get a good long look up close at whatever it is that you see. In this case, I found a pull-off, and out in the middle of the marsh there appears to be, and they're a bit away, it appears to be a number of big white pelicans. I don't know what pelicans are doing in Ohio, but it's really cool. I'm gonna go shoot them. To properly scout a new area, it's important that I keep moving and cover as much ground as possible. So naturally, and almost immediately, I'm confronted with a large, charismatic species that seems content to stay still for photos. But knowing these animals come through here is enough to convince me that this place is for real. It's been a bit of a surprise to see everything that I've seen so far. We've got tundra swans out there, which are much larger than the mute swans that we have. They're incredibly huge birds. Obviously, standing here looking at pelicans. And this is the really exciting thing about migrating birds, is they pass through and you get maybe 2-3 weeks to see these guys. And then they move on. The more I stand here, the more different species of bird land. Now I've got my camera trained on a couple of cormorants that have taken up some real estate next to these pelicans. The pelicans are so much bigger than them, they don't care. So right now in my camera, I've got 5 different species of bird. This is definitely one of those situations where I wouldn't fault you for spending your entire shoot out here, waiting out these really oddball pairings and seeing what happens. But for me, now I think it's time for me to move on, after of course noting where I saw these. The most important thing to do while in a new place is to make sure you note the locations of notable species and landmarks on a map or notebook. It's easy to overlook this step until you want to go out again and can't find what you're looking for. If I'm being honest, this should be done every trip. Right up alongside the road are a couple of tundra swans. Huge friggin' birds, just beautiful. On their way down south from the Arctic for the winter. Or when I say close, I mean close. Beautiful, oh my goodness. A quick note on tundra swans. They breed and raise their young in the tundra. This means if I want to photograph young swans, I'll have to travel to them. So I was just thinking to myself how weird it is that I saw all of these birds everywhere, and then I get to this pond and there's nothing. Might as well be dead. Look at this. Nobody home. And then I find out why. That has to be the largest eagle nest I have ever seen. And of course, in accordance with apparently the rules of this show, no eagles. But there it is. Early in this show, it's becoming clear that bald eagles are going to be something of an arch nemesis of mine. Their absence has been an early plague on my filming. Wow, okay. Check out this little guy. Here's a leopard frog, and he's chosen to hop ahead of me down the road. So ideally, I can get him to a clear shot. Where are you, buddy? There you go. Hey, there's a good clear shot. Don't skip the small guys. I've finished harassing the frogs for now. I got... Oh. Damn, they're everywhere. Oh, wow. All right, so... Oh, Jesus. All right, so I gotta watch my step here, because there's 4 or 5 of them in just this time. You probably watched me stutter. Just frogs everywhere. Small animals like frogs are important to note. Large concentrations are likely to lead to predators like this heron. Or, I took some photos already. You're probably looking at them right now. I was walking this trail and I thought I heard an eagle. Couldn't see it in any of the trees. And then, of course, I turn around and there's a juvenile bald eagle up there. He hasn't quite earned his white hat yet, but he's just beautiful. That pattern under his wings is just magnificent as he's scoping out, looking for fish, looking for ducks, anything he can get his claws around to eat. Oh, fantastic. For animals that live in a temperate climate, you can almost imagine their yearly routine the same way you would imagine a day in the life of a retail store. I mean, obviously in winter, things are pretty much closed, right? That would be the overnight. Spring would be your morning. And there's a lot going on. Animals are recovering lost body weight, raising young, trying to nest. There's a lot of things to prepare for the year, just like you would do in a store, opening up the registers, making sure everything is stocked, ready for people to come in. And then, as you hit summer and the store's been open for a while, everything is just maintenance. Got to maintain that body weight. You got to make sure that there's food on the shelves after things have come and gone. And then you hit fall, where you're closing down again. You got to make sure that everything's put away, closing down the registers, locking up the doors. Right now, we're in the middle of September. We're a couple hours from closing, and all the little shop workers here are getting ready to lock those doors and close up for the night. Walking into places unknown with their own secrets and personality is easily one of the best parts of this undertaking. The adventure of what could await when we step out our door to new places is an important part of wildlife photography. For those of you who feel like I do, perhaps it's time you step out again in pursuit of that adventure.